Finally, we are going live. We are live. But first, I want to thank you, Tom, for your time on Tuesday. It was a historic moment for me as I launched my final business chapter of my living ebook that I started 3 years ago. My legacy story: a 73 entrepreneurial journey as a publisher, producer, providing marketing sales strategies. And now, as I guess a validation of the conversation that we had, we are off and running, charging with, well, when I, in our conversation on Tuesday, said celebrate business, and I pointed to you that it is something that I put up on my board probably about 10 days ago. It just dawned on me at that moment that that should be the name, the identification of the project that I am doing. And I don't think I don't think that I could ever come up with a better name than to celebrate business to describe how I've lived my life as a solopreneur for the last 50 plus years now. I started to do it digitally, the project, My Legacy Story, because I had no interest to print and manufacture a book. I did that years ago, and it was great that I did it, but in order to, it's more efficient. It's absolutely more efficient to do it as a digital presentation, and my approach has given me the opportunity to do what I do, to publish and to produce. So it's an amazing thing that there's been a lot of growth. There's been a lot of growth of the concept since you and I had our first conversation. Our meeting was last week. It's been less than 2 weeks. Things have been going, and then as I started to put some numbers to the project, when I publish and produce 41,683 zip codes times 11 stories in each zip code, that is 458,513 stories. And certainly something up until now I've done everything pretty much on my own, but there's no way I'm going to do that by myself. So I came up with a concept of having a co-publisher, producer, host, sponsor in each of the 41,683 zip codes, and to the first 100 of such, and I want the first 100 to be in this market, and we'll go into that a little bit a little bit in a couple minutes. The first 100 host sponsors, co-publisher producers that invest $10,000 for their zip code. And that is the why. That's the why we are doing what we are doing. And I can't. Well, one thing I'm doing for sure. Well, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I'll tell you some things. Some steps I've taken since Tuesday. Why do I want to collaborate with Cincinnati USA Regional Chamber? Always ask the why question. And to me, it was a very pleasant thought process, because for the last 35 years, my oldest son was born in Cincinnati. 35 years ago, I made Cincinnati my home. I have never left. My sons did, and they have families in. One's up the road in Columbus, and one just moved to Dallas. But I'm here. Cincinnati is my home, and why Cincinnati Chamber again? Well, as you and I discussed in our video chat on Tuesday, that you knew that Dreaming with Entrepreneurs last year of membership was with the chamber was 2008, and I knew it was about that time. I didn't know exactly what year it was because I then went into cyberspace. So you did not have an affiliation with anything in cyberspace. So I kind of went out and did my own thing, and I produced over 2,500 hours of YouTubes. And it was to that point, just 15 minutes ago, as I was going to the YouTube homepage to create this video for our email, on my homepage, in the top, there's a bunch of things that YouTube was trying to get me to watch. Google was trying to get me to watch, but in the top row, there was a video that I streamed with a friend of mine who has a huge cyberspace reputation, and that particular video we streamed 8 years ago. And I just sent him a message saying, a text saying that it's a 52-minute video, and then I asked him, when are we having our next 52-minute conversation? So we took that opportunity too. I did go to the University of Cincinnati for 5 years, but my academic studies were unrelated, for the most part, to what I am doing today. And also, as a matter of fact, one of the worst personal decisions I ever made in my life, I thought at the time, was graduating college earlier than typical, because I was working my way through college and I had enough credits, and I said, no need to go on, let's get started. And so but then, it was a mess. It was January 1971, and we were still fighting in Vietnam in there. So it was crazy. But that was my first time in Cincinnati, came back here just by chance. Came back to the area and been here for 35 years. So I have also finally decided that I want to live out my years in downtown Cincinnati. I absolutely don't know where, but it's not going to be. It's going to be a walk to 4th Street, a short walk to 4th Street, somewhere there. And I want to have it. I want to take my loft. I want to make a loft studio in downtown Cincinnati to finish out my years. So that's another reason why. And maybe I will be so close to Cincinnati Bell Alta Fiber, I'll be able to get a good price and special pricing, and also great customer care right there in downtown Cincinnati. And then kind of as a sidebar, but it definitely has a Cincinnati storyline to it. While still living in Cincinnati, and in 1991, actually I wasn't in Cincinnati at the time, but I was in the area. In 1991, I had a 9-year collaboration with a company in Cincinnati, a company that I actually studied very closely, and it's the first time that I left my solopreneur world as I was doing it, and took it and did another adventure. And it was a 9-year wonderful experience in my life. Unfortunately, I put on 1 million Delta Sky Miles in that 9 years, but it is what it is. But there's another interesting real sidebar, that the last CEO that Convergys as we knew it, the CEO was a woman. Her name was Andrea Ayers, and Andrea and I started with, at that time it wasn't Convergys, it was called Matrix Marketing, and we were on the same marketing sales team, and we were the first 2 folks probably in the company doing what we did for sure, that were working remotely. We did work remotely, but then in early '92, I had an office. Actually, my office was on the 4th floor of a building, literally a 8 or 9 minute walk from where I am right now. So that's what I want to do. I want to move to downtown Cincinnati, and I want to then create and develop Celebrate Business, and we have a lot of work to do. And by the way, what have I done so far with the idea since you and I met? I bought 2 domains, celebratebusiness.us. That web landing page, I am sure, will be live this weekend. And also developing side by side with it, but not at, well, it's going to be a collection, a gathering of all of the folks who were co-publishing co-publisher, producer, host sponsors with me, a special section, and it's going to have its own domain, which is celebratebusiness.expert. That was done, and the third decision was a very easy business logical decision that with 458,513 business stories to be told, at least, it's going to take it's going to take a long time, and so we need the protection of an LLC to do that. So that is in the workings right now. Celebrate Business LLC. So that those happened since in the last 48 hours. Now let's talk about what you and I shared in terms of a collaborative relationship between myself and the chamber. For every co-publisher, producer, host, sponsor that can say yes or no to a $10,000 buying decision, for every one of those individuals, and you send an email to them and endorse me or whatever wording that you want to do, telling that individual that the project has been explained and will be developed and live forever in downtown Cincinnati. It's that simple. And in exchange for that, for each zip code is going to be worth, at least to the first 100, $10,000. Of that $10,000, I will anonymously and very quietly give the chamber and or the foundation or whatever you decide $1,500 for every $10,000 spent for one of those emails that you sent to a decision maker. That's all that it really needs to be. And just open the door for me. And when I close the door, and 15 minutes after I have access to the $10,000, in the next 15 minutes, you will have access to your $1,500. It's not a commitment. It's not a pledge. It's an honorarium that will be paid 15 minutes later. And as you and I discussed, and I don't know what this really means, but in the 4 counties where the chamber has considers to be part of their MSA area, marketing area, the 4 Ohio counties, that's Hamilton, Brown, Clinton, and Warren, those 4 counties. There are 309 zip codes. And if one of our postcard storyboard / web landing page lands, oh my goodness. And there goes that bird again, and it's just, it's the clock, and I did not realize what time it was. But that could, if one of our storyboards and one of our web landing pages goes in to 319 zip codes, actually 11 of them will go in, that would represent a substantial honorarium to the chamber or the foundation or to whomever, not to whomever, to whatever, or to whomever. And at that point, too, as we are developing those 11 business stories, I sincerely want all 11 of those folks to be members of the chamber. It makes that kind of sense. So at that point, the chamber's input with the host sponsor and myself to just develop who should be. To me, we're celebrate business, but obviously the chamber is most concerned with members, as they well should be, and we would ask for your involvement at that point. Let's what are we talking about? What is my product? And then this is very, very specific and very, very confidential now. I'm going to share some personally confidential with me. I, as I told you on Tuesday, have been developing for at least 6 months now a strategy, a marketing sales strategy to take to Kroger. And to that end, part of that resulted in me buying the domain shopyourzipcode.solutions. And it's a wonderful way for Kroger to tell their story in a very substantial way. And of course, as I said, there are 10 QR codes in Kroger's application, if you will. I think it makes most sense, and I'm sure it makes most sense to how for them to involve their suppliers on a project like this. So I suggest the bottom half of the page is Kroger coupons, whatever stories they want to tell, whatever 5 stories, business stories, and there has to be a business reason. And if it's, let's say, for coupons, it would be a nice way with a discussion with somebody from that company, the one of their suppliers. That would be a great conversation and a great use of this concept for Kroger's. Then this area belongs to Kroger's to develop whatever branding and theme needs to be developed. And once again, these would represent business stories of chamber members. And the concept just has no end. This is a mock-up that I am developing. They don't know it yet, for O'Connor, Achani, and Levy. It just so happens this represents, look how close it is in size to the postcard, half of the new volume of the Cincinnati Bell Yellow Pages. It has been, that I just got this week. It has been years, for whatever reason, that I've seen that directory, I don't know what it is today to have the back page of the directory in 4-color. I can imagine, have no idea what it does cost, but I will guarantee O'Connor, Achani, and Levy that a $10,000 investment in this Celebrate Business project will return way more than $10,000 invest in sales and new business, in enhanced lifetime value that an existing or a new customer will represent to O'Connor, Achani, and Levy. So they are one of 3 companies that I am contacting next, and I don't know. There's no way they can't be a member of the chamber. But they absolutely, this is a potential, as any attorney office the size of their office. And I also have a list of the top 25 law offices, attorney practices, and CPAs in Cincinnati. There is no question in my mind that those 50 could represent tons of zip codes in Cincinnati, in the marketplace. And the time was funny that you and I were, that just represents Ohio. And I started to talk a little bit about Northern Kentucky and Indiana. Those are actually, the discussion is the same. They all have zip codes, so that part of it is not a problem. Actually, it's a tremendous aid for me because we've got lots of zip codes covered in that way. And then finally, in our discussions, because this actually started in the very first meeting that you and I had in the chamber offices, I would be honored to produce complimentary 2 programs that I have been thinking about for a long time now. Actually, I think in both cases, I actually was thinking in terms of both, in doing them in cyberspace. And I wasn't getting anywhere in cyberspace, but there's no question that they will work in the chamber programming. And actually, you and I talked about a lunchtime kind of mentality, what kind of program. Since then, I think it makes a lot more sense to have a wine and cheese type approach, obviously changing the time of the day. And I say that because actually this theme, thank you for 19 minutes of your time, was a theme that I used in a publishing. I was publishing a new magazine, brand new magazine to the marketplace, and I was asking folks in that marketplace to come to a 19-minute video wine and cheese party at the Cultural Arts Center in my hometown, and 750 people showed up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 150 average for those nights. And that was just an unbelievable, well, it launched, that's how I launched my magazine back in those days. So Wine and cheese party. I'm at a half hour already. Sorry. Wine and cheese party gathering. I am on the floor, so to speak, working the floor with members, marketing, sales, doing a triage from the floor. They say, here's a challenge I'm having. I triage it, then I pass it on to a panel that the chamber selects, who will offer a point blank idea that would work, or something for that member to think about. It'll work when we'll make that work. The second concept, and it's probably, people are probably doing it already. I have no idea, but I'm calling it. What am I calling it? Business Speed Collaborative. They are 6-minute sessions. Business speed dating, collaborating. The inner circle creates compelling statements about their business or themselves, and they have about 2.5 minutes to do that. There will then be a 2.5-minute exchange conversation with the outer circle, and it is a requirement at the end of the 6 minutes that next steps are defined. The next steps, potential next steps of those two individuals. Yes, there's a need for us to get together, or not now, but I will definitely now think about you for the future. It's a great way. It's a great way for folks to think about what they do in their businesses and how they do it. But as I said, incumbent is the fact that next steps must be defined in that 6-minute or so session. Okay. Thank you for almost 33 minutes. Real quickly, my story Facebook posting this morning invited my audience to come to Cincinnati this weekend for Oktoberfest, and I told them that be prepared, because there would probably be 700,000 other folks celebrating Oktoberfest in downtown Cincinnati. You're setting up right now, and I actually hope to be there myself tomorrow, first thing as you open tomorrow. And that was done earlier today. And finally, it was really appropriate. Things happen in life for a reason. And as I explained to you, for our meeting, our video chat on Tuesday, I picked out one of my diaries. I've got about 10 of them, and it was an absolute arbitrary pick of this. And lo and behold, on the inside front cover is my name tag, Dreaming with Entrepreneurs, Cincinnati, USA Regional Chamber. So this diary was last used in 2008, my last year of membership, and it was just totally by accident, on purpose, that we saw that. So that's it. enjoy whatever part of your day that you are in. Right now, your mindset is Oktoberfest, as it will be all weekend. Good luck. I hope you have lots of energy, because, well, I don't need to tell you, you know what it's all about. And we'll connect when the time is appropriate. That'll be the next time that we connect. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.